All right, so I've come up with, I think, the perfect analogy to describe how the Oakland Raiders are playing at this point in the season. The way they play, it reminds me of that scene in Monsters University where, Sully and Mike, they're in the library and they're playing that college game where they're trying to sneak past the librarian. And everybody else is like creeping around, sneaking around on their tiptoes. And then all of a sudden they're just like, you know what, forget it. Let's go in and do it our way. And they just start breaking stuff, flipping over tables, and the librarian's like a giant Hydra monster. She's chasing them around. There's books flying everywhere. Dudes are flying all over the field. That's exactly how the Raiders are playing this year because every game is just absolute anarchy from start to finish. But here's the thing. Apparently, the Raiders are really, really good at that kind of play because they've gone out. They're 4-1. They've won 3 games in a row. Not only are they on top of the AFC West right now, folks, go to ESPN, go off to the playoff rankings. If the playoffs started today, they would be the number 1 seed in the American Football Conference. Absolutely insane. After 14 years of mediocrity, having this team go out there and win the games in the way that they're winning, and all 5 games they played this year have gone down to the wire. They've been absolute, just like stomach-churning nail-biters. I don't know if I can make it until week 17. I'm going to have a heart attack. And this game over the Chargers was like the most nerve-wracking game I've watched in a long, long time. But the Raiders, they pulled it off. They had some help from Sweet Fate herself, but still, this is a team that goes in there and they're playing very close, but they're winning. This is a team where 2 or 3 years ago, maybe they would be losing games by like 3 points or 2 points, but now they're winning them. And it reminds me of that great quote from Bobby Bowden about how you rebuild a program. It's like we go through 4 stages. First, you lose big. For us, that was 2013. Then you lose close, which I guess is 2014-15. And then you start winning close. And that's where we are right now. And, you can argue about the defense, and there are some problems. We saw some really big holes in the run game. We saw Phillip Rivers, nonetheless, go there and throw 4 touchdowns, 359 yards, which is way, way, way too high. I mean, Melvin Gordon just shredded us rushing. There were at least 2 crazy stat here. 2 San Diego receivers, Tyrell Williams and Travis Benjamin, both had 117 yards. Antonio Gates was only the 4th ranked wide receiver in terms of total yards in the game on Sunday against the Raiders. I tell you just how many yards they were putting up on us. But, like I said, the Raiders, they find a way to win. And this time around, and it's such a crazy game because, at one point, and I'm having to look at the stats here because, it's just such a fluky thing that happened. All right, so let's look at the scoring plays. At one point in this game in the third quarter, it was 24-16. Okay, that's the 10-minute mark of the third quarter. Okay, you go to the 12:51 mark of the fourth quarter, guess what? The Raiders are up 10 points. How does that happen? Well, you have some interceptions thrown by the Chargers. You have that big fumble that cost the Chargers quite late. You have Michael Crabtree finally in that 21-yard pass in there. You got Amari Cooper burning up the field. And it's just crazy because you see this game where the Raiders, they're down pretty much all the way up until the late third quarter. They get a double-digit lead, and then you're like, okay, they're going to throw it away. Then Antonio Gates gets that 4-yard pass, and it's 31-34, and you're like, hold on, and the offense can't get anything done. So you're waiting on the defense, and then the Chargers go out there, and they get in field goal range, and then the placeholder bobbles the ball. And that's enough to get the Raiders out there. They hold on offense. There's one last defensive stand against San Diego, and they try to do a Cal Stanford thing. It doesn't work, and the Raiders win. Now, I'm not going to lie. At about the 4-minute mark of the fourth quarter, I'm like, I can't watch it. My nerves were just shot. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't watch the team go out there and lose a game this close that they should have won. But, I go out and I walk the puppy, and I come back, and they bobble the snap. It's just absolutely amazing. This is one of those things where I don't want to get all supernatural on you, but, this team is like playing like a team of destiny. where like the autumn wind itself is pushing these guys into victory in games that really logically they shouldn't win, but they're winning. I mean, even the game against the Falcons, and the Falcons, I think after beating Denver, we can call them one of the best teams in the NFL. That one was close. That came down to the wire. So, I mean, the Raiders haven't really, haven't looked completely out of it whatsoever. Now, of course, when you look at what's going on, the defense is still problematic. They're playing better. We saw the fumbles. We saw Carl Joseph get an interception. Sean Smith got an interception. Derek Carr, 317 yards, already 5th all-time in Raiders franchise history for most 100-yard games, which is crazy. He's only been on the team for 3 years. Got sacked a couple times. That was the one thing defensively which really bothered me, because up until today's game, really nobody in the NFL has been able to put pressure on Derek Carr. I mean, nobody's penetrated that O-line, but for whatever reason, they were just hiccuping all day. And, Carr got hit 3 times. I mean, which is really more than he's been hit all season so far. And the O-line has been our biggest benefit, because they give Derek Carr all the time in the world to hit Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, or Seth Roberts. It's helped the run game tremendously. So the O-line, as long as it's healthy and it stays good, I think the Raiders can definitely have a winning season. That's a huge, huge X factor. But the fact they kind of collapsed a little does concern me. But yeah, just looking at this, offensively, defensively, the defense needs work. I'm not saying they're giving up a ton of yardage. Let's see what the overall yardage estimates were. How much more? Yeah, San Diego had a 423 compared to 389. But here's the thing about football. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. And, I mean, if you have 423 yards and only 3 touchdowns out of it, but you have 389 and you get 4 touchdowns out of it, that's how you win games. And I think another big one here, 4 turnovers for San Diego, just 1 for Oakland. That's a pretty big decisive factor. But the time of possession, the Raiders gobbled up 36 minutes of the clock. I mean, there was a point in the first half where they had the ball for 9 minutes straight. And granted, it was only a field goal on the drive, but still. What we're seeing here is we're seeing a team that just finds a way to win. They go up there, their defense is lackluster as it can be. They're still getting hard hits. They're warming up. They're getting better. I still think the best defensive showing was last week against Baltimore, where they just put pressure on Joe Flacco all week. I want to see more of that. I want to see them just absolutely going after the quarterback and making their lives miserable. Hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of that against Kansas City next weekend. But the offense is so good, anchored by that quality O-line, that this team can just put up 30 points, 20 points like it's nothing, and make every single game competitive. Now, to be fair, the Raiders really haven't played a AAA defense so far this year. We got Kansas City coming up. We got Denver coming up. Both those teams playing twice. And but beyond that, I think that's really the only stiff D's that the Raiders are going to come across this year. Texans would have been, but obviously with J.J. Watt going down and just them playing utter poo-poo, I don't really see much coming out of that whatsoever. Maybe Buffalo, way late, in December, but we'll see. They may fall apart before then. But just the way it is, the Raiders, they only have a +5 point differential. San Diego, despite the fact being 1-4, they have a +10. So everything the Raiders are doing are just a complete refutation of statistical reality. There's no way this team should be giving up 500 yards a game, but still win. It's just absolute, just this fluky stuff. And I don't know, maybe, it's good luck. The juju, the universe is shining upon us, but the Raiders are going out there. They're staying in close, but their credit, they're hanging in there. And, they get the last laugh. And it's been my favorite season so far, despite the stress on my, stomach lining. I got plenty of ulcers from last week's game. I'm having a blast every weekend. And I don't really know how to react, because the Raiders have sucked for so long that having a 4-1 team, to go out there on Sunday and not just think that you might be able to win a game, but actually expect to win it, it's like a newfound sensation. It's like kind of falling in love for the first time. And this is going to be a season Raiders fans will not forget for a long time to come. And games like the ones we saw against the Chargers on Sunday is definitely one of the reasons why. All right, so up next, we've got Kansas City, the first of 2 showdowns against them. I don't want to make any predictions about that, but I'll do my recap video once that game's over. Then we got Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, then Denver, and then the bye week. So we've got 4 very, very interesting matchups coming up here. Really, to be honest, all those games are losable. Let's don't joke ourselves and say, we're going to go out there and just pummel all of them. But by that same token, all these games are winnable too. The Raiders can beat Kansas City. Judging from what the Falcons did to Denver, as long as they get that offense rolling, they can beat the Broncos. Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, from what we've seen so far, they are very, very beatable teams, but they can all beat the Raiders. So it's really just going to come down to, just how well the defense plays, how the O-line stands up, and whether Derek Carr is able to engineer another one of those Dan Marino fourth quarter comebacks. But I think he will. But like I said, the Raiders, they're 4-1. They keep winning, riding that 3-game win streak. Kansas City this weekend, another divisional game. I'm going to be there with bells on.